Happy Wednesday, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live. We're going to be discussing the deal as per what the thumbnail says. Going to be discussing the agreement for sale deal that we purchased with less than $30,000. So first off, let me know if you can hear and see me. The chat is open. If you have any questions, I want this to be interactive. So if you have any questions, definitely do not be shy, as I want you to be comfortable and ask away. So coming to you live here from our lake house. Mel and I live in North Bay, Ontario, Canada. The lake house that I'm coming into from is still in North Bay, so like 15 or 20 minutes from our house. We actually purchased this place with none of our own money, which is kind of the theme of what Mel and I do, right? Creative financing. So the lake house we actually bought was a mortgage broker with a private first mortgage lender. And then we used someone's RRSPs as our down payment. 100% financed. But today we are going to be chatting about the agreement for sale, also known as AFS, deal that we did in Edmonton, Alberta, that closed on July 1st. If you're in the US, if you're tuning in from the US, it's basically a wrap mortgage, right? WRAP, or wrap mortgage. Same difference, just I almost said Toronto. Canada has agreement for sale. US has wrap mortgages, which tomato, same thing. They just call it different things, right? So today we're going to be talking about that. We are actually releasing a YouTube video on this tomorrow. It is a walkthrough. So when Mel and I, we were in Alberta last month for Calgary Stampede. We went to Edmonton. We walked through the property as well, checked out a couple other places while we were there. But yeah, we're going to be releasing a YouTube video tomorrow on this agreement for sale deal. And what I like about this video is you're going to get to see raw. And what I mean by raw is this is the first time we actually saw the place, because we did all the due diligence from our house, right? But this is the first time we walked through, and the property manager had not been in there. We had just taken possession. So literally we're walking through. Some of the doors are missing, right? Which we knew about because we had seen it in the inspection, and we made sure that was all good. What was I going to say? Some of the, what do you call it? The around the light switches, not the panel, faceplate, the faceplates. There's a window that's broken. What else was there? Just little things like that. The power wasn't even on, right? Because we hadn't had a chance to change the utilities as well. Oh, there's Millie in the backyard. But just things like that, right? That we were able to do, or to go with, to walk through. So that was all. Oh, I think Millie might be doing her business here, so I'll switch angles. Oh, we are live, so things can happen. But yeah, our YouTube video that we're releasing tomorrow on it is literally like the raw, like things that Mel and I, there was like a big Chesterfield or Ottoman, whatever you call those things that we have to move out. But yeah, tomorrow's YouTube video is all about that, and it's literally a walkthrough of our agreement for sale deal in Edmonton, Alberta. So today we're going to be talking about that. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. Any questions about what we do, any questions about how agreement for sale works. So I'm just going from memory here. So this deal, I believe, was $355,000. Okay, so about a $355,000 asset. This one was almost like a townhouse in a condominium style. So it's a 3-level townhouse, condominium style, meaning that, and okay, let me backtrack. When people say condominium, they immediately think condo. So in a big building, a condo, and you own almost like an apartment type thing. Condominium type ownership can be a lot of different things, right? You can have your house in a condominium type ownership. You can have a townhouse, a villa, a condominium, a condo. So condominium basically just means that there are shared common areas, right? There's a board and all that, and you're gonna have to pay HOA fees, right? Homeowners association or condo fees. It's just a different type of ownership. So this is literally a townhouse in a condominium style building, right? There's a common like parking lot underneath that you can go, and you've got your own parking spot and stall, which is important, right? Edmonton, Alberta gets very cold in the winter, so having your vehicle outside of the elements is going to be important. Um, yeah, so this agreement for sale, $355,000 purchase price, acquisition price. The down payment. Oh, Lisanne in Canada. Yes, this deal was in Edmonton, Alberta, or is in Edmonton, Alberta. They'll be closed July 1st. Where location? Yeah, Edmonton, Alberta, guys. Just so you're for people tuning in. So this purchase price, or sorry, this asset was purchased with agreement for sale. Now, agreement for sale, or AFS, I'll start calling it for short form. So AFS deals are literally where, and let's just build out this scenario because this is what's happening. So the person who is the seller, they still keep ownership of the deal. So they still have their name on title, on deed. They still own it on paper. They still have the mortgage with the financial institution as well. So they literally still own the asset and have the debt, the mortgage on the asset. Okay. Nothing changes there for them. So they had the mortgage payments that they were making stay the same. The term that they had stays the same. Everything stays the same for them. And I'll make up some numbers just to keep it nice and simple. Now, an agreement for sale, what ends up happening is, and I do none of this, it's all the lawyers in that particular province for this one. And is this possible in Toronto? Yes, it is possible in Ontario as well. Actually, you know what, team, put the list, put deals. The team is going to put here a link. If you're interested in these types of deals, DM us the word deals. Okay, so if you're watching us on YouTube, you're going to see the link here. And if you're watching us on any other platform, DM us the word deals, and we'll send you the link to these types of deals that Mel and I have access to. So the ownership remains with the current owner, right, and the mortgage. Now, what we end up doing, we come along and we do a power of attorney, a POA. Okay, I'll use for short term. So a POA, basically what that is, and guys, I am not a lawyer. I am not an accountant. So do not take this as legal advice. Do not take this as accounting advice. I'm not a mortgage broker. I have 0 letters after my name. It's just Mel and I have now purchased over 264 units in 5 countries. So it's all from experience and hard work, okay? So the agreement for sale, what ends up happening? We put a power of attorney on the property. What does that mean? That means that we can now literally control. So see how I'm putting my arm around? That's why in the US, it's called wrap mortgages. You're wrapping around a contract around the deal, which in this scenario is literally a power of attorney, okay? So the power of attorney allows us to control the asset without owning it. So let's say Mr. or Mrs. Seller that currently owns it, let's say they go to sell the property. Well, they can't because we control it with the power of attorney. Let's say they go to, refinance or do anything like that. They can't because, again, we own control over the actual asset. That's our security, okay, on the particular deal. So now that you understand more agreement for sale, and if you have questions, again, put in the chat. I see a lot of people putting deals. Love it. We'll have a list for you for Canada, and we have a list for you for Mexico. Our US list is coming. I just don't want to promise as to when, but our US list is coming as well with these types of deals. But what this allows us to do is we gave the seller a down payment. So in this particular deal for $355,000, I think we gave them was it 25? Let's just say 25 or 23. I forget exactly what it was. $25,000. Again, I've got it in my cash flow analysis matrix. I'm just going from memory here. And this is just example purposes. I'm just going over the deal in general. So the $355,000 asset that we purchased, we gave the seller $25,000 in order to be able to do this. Now, every single month, think about this. Every single month, they still have a mortgage payment to make, right? They pay the taxes, the mortgage, the insurance, PITI, principal and interest, taxes, and insurance. And if this one's a condo, so also condominium fees. So they gave me a base amount. Hey, Dave, if you give me X amount of dollars per month, we will do this deal with $25,000 down, right? Because they have to win, right? Every scenario has to be a win-win. Mel and I are winning. Well, we don't own it. One of our corporations own it. We are winning because we're getting into an asset for very low down payment. And I'll talk about qualifying and all that after. The seller is winning because now they moved out of Edmonton, so they didn't want to have to control the asset anymore. You know what? I'll talk about the benefits after as well. So basically, so they win because they now have a monthly payment of let's just make it up. Let's say their monthly payment is $2,000. Okay, so $2,000 every single month is their principal and interest on the mortgage, is their taxes, right? They continue to pay the taxes and the insurance and the condo fee. So those four things. So let's say they say, Dave, you pay me $2,000 a month. Okay. No, sorry, backtrack. It costs them $2,000 a month. And they come to me and say, Dave, you know what? Because they show me all these numbers and these expenses. Dave, if you give me $2,250 a month, so $2,250 a month, we will do this deal with you plus the $25,000 down payment. So think about this, right? They're getting $250 over and above what their expenses are every single month, right? Because they should be cash flowing, they should be making money from this, win-win. And then Mel and I turn around and we rent this out for let's keep it very easy, $2,500 a month. So again, let's look at the sequence of events. Seller over here cost them $2,000 a month to carry this asset. They charge us $2,250, so they make $250 off Mel and I, right? We pay them that every single month. And let's say we rent out the unit for $2,500 every single month. So we make $250. Right? I'm just keeping a very, very, very simple explanation, right? These are not the exact numbers of our deal, but that would be an explanation. So as you can see, they make money. We control the asset. We rent it out for what we want, right? Market rent. So we continue to cash flow on this deal. Now let's talk about, let's talk about the benefits right now. And then let's talk about what we're going to do with this deal down the road. And again, if you're just following me now, if you're just tuning in, because I'm live on all our social media platforms, we are releasing a YouTube video tomorrow about this actual deal. Walk through a raw video, walk through the power's not even on. Mel's using her flashlight as her phone as a flashlight. So again, check it out on if you're not following us on YouTube, it's at Investor Mel Dave. We release a video every single week. Okay. And if you want access to deals like I'm talking about right now, DM us the word deals on whatever platform you're on. DM us the word deals, or here's the link as well. And these are the type of seller financing deals, agreement for sale deals that Mel and I do. Now, as of right now, we only have Canada and Mexico. Okay. We are working on getting some US stuff as well. It's in the works. We're just jumping through some hoops, but it is coming. So keep following us so that you can get access to these types of things as well. Actually, you know what? Mel and I are doing a in-depth breakdown tomorrow night on our live webinar. DM us the word live because I want you to go. We're going to be analyzing like 5 deals. We're going to show you creative financing, how we do it with seller financing, where they hold a mortgage, agreement for sale, where we do the power of attorney. We're going to do our RRSP mortgages, right, for Canada, and then 401k mortgages for the US. We're going to talk about promissory notes, right, how we utilize them as well. And then also, what was my fourth one? I did do the fourth one. So we have a live webinar. DM us the word live, and we'll come on. We show you deals in Costa Rica. We show you deals in Canada and the US. It's pretty cool. We'll show you a flip we did. Cool. Justin. Hey, Justin, if you want to hear what I got to say, all good. You can take off anytime, man. You don't have to stay around. But those of you that want to talk about creative financing, you're more than happy to stay. More than welcome or happy to stay, whatever the saying is. Okay, so this particular agreement for sale deal, why would the seller do this? Because it benefits them. Very, very simple. People do things because it benefits them. So this particular seller was moving from Edmonton, where the asset is located, to Calgary. So they were moving, what, was that 3 hours or 2.5 hours away? I forget now. I just drove it a couple of weeks ago. So they no longer live there. However, they still had, I think this one was 21 months remaining on their actual mortgage term. So it's a couple of things. If they moved and sold it right now, there needed to be a couple of repairs, like I mentioned earlier, which Mel and I negotiated in the price. We're like, we'll gladly take care of that, negotiate in the price, and we're used to that. We do this all day, every day. We could do it in our sleep. So they got to liquidate the asset, or they can not sell it completely, but they no longer have to control and take care of the asset. They get to actually make interest every single month on the deal, because I'm paying them, right, in this example that I gave you, $250 more than their payments are every single month. So they're making money, right? They're cash flowing from the deal, and they don't have to break their mortgage term. So for example, they still had 21 months remaining on their mortgage term, and that would have been, there's a penalty, right? It's usually like the, oh gosh, what is it? Again, I'm not a mortgage broker. It's like the 3 month, or what's the calculation? It's the, I forget the wording. It's 3 months, or it's the lesser of the evil of the two penalties, or something like that. I forget. But they didn't want to do that. So that's why they did the agreement for sale. Now think about this on my end. How do Mel and I win? We now have this asset under our control. We're renting it for higher than what it cost us, so we're cash flowing. And we bought it at the specific purchase price that it's at right now. So we bought it for $355,000. That's what our contract states. Now let's fast forward a year. Let's fast forward to, what are we, August 7th? Yeah, we're August 7th. Let's fast forward to August 7th, 2025. This particular market is going up. I believe it's going up. It's gone up already, I think 11% since last year. So it's going up a lot. So in a year from now, and I've got 21 months to do something with this. So in a year from now, the asset has gone up. And let's just make it up. Let's say it's gone up. Let's just do the math. So if I bought it for 355 times 11%, no, plus 11%, plus 11%. Okay, so guys, quick math. 355 plus 11% brings it up to 300. I'll just round up, $395,000. So 395 minus 355, that's 40K. Boom. So in a year from now, I bought the asset for $40,000 less. Okay. I did not have to qualify at a bank. With agreement for sale, well, this particular one that I did, there's no qualifying at a bank because I'm not actually doing a mortgage. They still have the mortgage. They still have the deed. Okay, I just control the asset. So in a year from now, if I go to sell it, if this market continues to increase by 11% like it has been, right? They're predicting even more. I can sell it and make $40,000, right? Plus all the cash flow that I made for the last 12 months. So this is why we do these types of agreement for sales. Now, if I keep it for the full 21 months, right? So I did 12 months. What would that be? Let's just do times 2 years for a general average, minus 355K plus 22% for 2 years equals $433,000. So 433, even if we shave off a little bit because it won't be the full. So even if we do 425 minus 355. So if I hold this asset, and I know it's reversed, boom, for the 21 months, I could be looking at increasing a value of $70,000, right? If you want to learn how to do this, DM us the word live. Mel and I are going live on our webinar tomorrow. You'll be with us. We'll go through like 5 deals. We'll go through creative financing, a lot more. But like, this is an example of a deal that we do, right? This is the beauty about using creative financing agreement for sale. Now, okay, we talked about the benefits of this. Does anyone have any questions? I want to make sure if anyone has any questions that I can clarify, because I see a lot of deals, a lot of live. Yes, DM us, guys. We'll be able to hook you guys up with our webinar tomorrow. And it is live. Mel and I are going live tomorrow night. It's not a replay or a repeat. Oh, if you can't make the live tomorrow, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you cannot make the live, but you're like, Dave, I want to watch it. I want to see what you got to do. I want to see the deal analysis that you're going to do on these 5 deals. Sign up for it. Okay, sign up for the webinar. You will get the free replay. Okay, you'll get the free replay. Sorry, you get the replay, and then you also get our book for free. So Mel and I are 3-time Amazon bestsellers. Well, sorry, let me backtrack. I am only twice. Mel is 3 times because Mel did a woman's only book, and I could not participate in it. So you will get our first Amazon best-selling book for absolutely free if you join the webinar. Okay, so if you join the webinar, you'll get the replay so you can watch it at any time, doesn't matter, and you'll get our free book as well. Okay, so people are asking what city. This particular deal that I was talking about is in Edmonton, Alberta. Although we do have deals in British Columbia, Canada. We have some in Edmonton. We have some in Ontario. We have some in Mexico. U.S. deals for the agreement are link is coming soon. We just got to iron out a couple of things. ATIA, organic roots. So you're basically renting that home and then renting it out. No, I see what you're saying. No, that would be considered arbitrage. Arbitrage is where, let's say I rent the apartment for $2,000 and then I rent it out to someone else for $2,200. That is like the rental arbitrage. So it's kind of like that. And the thing, I'm not saying arbitrage is not okay, is that I don't see any ownership in it. That's the part that I'm missing with the rental arbitrage. So this is kind of the same thing. However, I've got a contract on the deal and I get to choose what happens with the property. So I'm not just a tenant renting it out, subleasing it to another tenant with absolutely zero control of the building, with absolutely zero of the lift. Because when you do that and the market goes up, yes, you're making monthly cash flow. Monthly cash flow was awesome. Okay. And I'll just give you guys a little tip here. So Mel and I live off our monthly cash flow from our buildings, right? However, the biggest bumps that I love is when the market goes up, because then our personal net worth goes up, right? The cash flow doesn't help your personal net worth, your PNW. It's the evaluations and the equity in the assets. Okay, so that is the secret sauce of the rich. It's owning it, controlling it, and riding that market appreciation. So then your equity goes up and your personal net goes up. Okay, so it's kind of like the rental arbitrage. I agree with you. However, this one has the actual market appreciation. So now I want to make improvements in this property, even though I don't technically own it, because at the end of the day, when I go to sell it or I go to flip it to myself, I'm going to have that market appreciation. Okay. But I love that you asked that, Atia, because I love how you're like, it's kind of like this, but it's not fully. I love that you're grasping that. And any other questions, guys, do not be shy. We're going to answer a lot more on our live tomorrow webinar. Again, if you can't make the 8 p.m. Eastern, register, you'll get the replay link and you get our free Amazon best-selling book. Okay. What else did I want to say to you is, I was talking earlier. What is the exit strategy on this deal? So the exit strategy, because that is very important. Mel and I are all about exit strategies. Anyone can get into a deal, right? If you have enough of a down payment, anyone can get into a deal. However, it's exiting that makes the most amount of sense. So we like using other people's money, OPM. So we don't have a choice. We have to exit the deal, meaning we have to know how, at the end of the term, how are we going to pay back the funds? Otherwise, we don't touch it. Where's my Toronto Maple Leafs? My Leafs disappointing me all these years in a row. I'll face it so you guys can see the Leaf symbol. But anyway, now my Jays are disappointing me. Oh, we're Toronto fans. Where are you guys at? It's tough being a Toronto fan, but I know that has nothing to do with real estate. But anyway, my exit strategy on this property at the end of the 21 months, I bought it in July, so 20 months now. There's two options. I can either sell it, put it on the market, sell it, just like any other deal. Nothing changes. I listed with a real estate agent. I just have to talk to the lawyers because there's a little bit of a different nuance because I don't own it. So the listing gets a little different. So they just have to check with the lawyers that I have permission through the power of attorney. And it's just a simple XYZ to get it done. Or what Mel and I love to do I sell properties? Sometimes, yes. Monopoly, right? It's literally, sometimes you sell, right? What is it? 5 green hotels, 5 green houses, 1 red hotel, or vice versa. So sometimes you do end up selling some properties to buy other properties. At the end of the day, this one, I could sell it. Mel and I could sell it, but I think I'm going to flip it into our portfolio. Okay. So I'm going to take the contract that we have, the agreement for sale. Let's just do the math. Remember what the math? Okay. So let's just look at the math. I still have it open. Remember the 425 minus 355? So $425,000. If I go to a financial institution and I ask them, for 80% loan to value. So I go, hey, my building's worth 425. I want 80% loan to value, which is typical, right? With this one's a townhouse and a condominium style ownership. That is $340,000. So they'll give me a new first mortgage of $340,000 maximum. Now I bought it for $355,000. I gave them $25,000, right? So now I'm already at $330,000 plus the mortgage paid down. I'm paying down some principal every single month. So that deal in 2 years or 20 months from now, when I go to refinance it, I don't have to come up with any money. Okay. The only initial money that I had to come up with was the 25K, which I borrowed. So I'll be paying back that investor as a promissory note done through the lawyers, right? Dot the I's, cross the T's with securities, and make sure you talk to them about it. But that's the beauty about it. I got into this property for 25K. I roll it over to a new first charge mortgage, and they're doing it for basically the same amount that's owing on the mortgage, which is still less than 80% loan to value. And if I'm talking and you're like, Dave, what are you even saying? This sounds like mumbo jumbo. I can show you how to do this. At the end of the day, that's what I'm saying to you. This is why we did the deal. I can show you exactly how to do this, right? We have 2,100 members in our Action Family Mentoring Program. But first, I want you to come on our live webinar tomorrow. DM us the word live, okay? And we'll go through. Again, we're going through one deal, and I'm just talking about numbers in the air. Tomorrow is going to be an actual presentation. We're going to show you the deal. We're going to show you some pictures of some renovations. We're going to show you the numbers, the first mortgage, the second mortgage, the lift, how we exit the deal. We're going to show you a flip we did in Costa Rica. I don't think we're going to have time to show you the flip. We're doing 2 flips in Florida right now, one in Cape Coral, one in Port Charlotte. We're doing deals in Ohio and Texas. So again, in the presentation, we're going to show you a lot of really cool things. So DM us the word live, and I can't wait to see you there tomorrow. There's a whole Q&A section as well. So I want to walk you through how creative financing works, how we're doing it, and how we're doing it well. We always pay people back. That's the secret sauce on using other people's money. Paying people back. I know it sounds simple, but some people don't, and that's how they get themselves in hot water. So if you're thinking, okay, Dave, this other people's money thing sounds good, but I don't know how to do it, totally normal. That's where I come in, and Mel and I come in. And I'm worried about paying people back. Guys, been there, done that. That's literally why we created the Action Family Mentoring Program, okay? So yeah, just DM us the word live. We'll see you on the webinar as well, and you can check it out. If you are interested in joining the Action Family, right, DM us the word action, and I'm literally going to call you. So the way I like to roll is I like talking to people to make sure that they're a good fit. If you DM me the word action, I am going to be calling you to make sure that you're a good fit, to see where you're at. If I can help you. If I can't help you, I'll help steer you in the right direction, right? If I can help you, it's to what extent. So DM us the word action, and we'll have a conversation, okay? Because I want to see if I can help you and how I can help. I know I can help you. Homes in Ontario, you can't touch under 1 million. Yes, you can. 100% you can. It's just where are you looking? But 100% you can. Is that a lake or a pond? It's beautiful. This is a lake. So this is Trout Lake. If you look up on a map, I am in North Bay, Ontario, Canada. I live here. Mel and I invest in 5 countries, right? This is the part I love. So I live in a small city of like, what are we, 50, 55, doesn't matter, 52. So I live in a smaller city of 52,000. The laptop that I'm talking to you on right now is how Mel and I buy properties in 5 countries: Canada, US, Costa Rica, Mexico, Dominican Republic. Okay, in Costa Rica, we're doing Potrero, Juan Calal. We're basically on the West Coast. Where else? Potrero, Cocoa Beach. I'm missing a place. I can't think. In Dominican Republic, we're buying in Punta Cana. We have 2 penthouses there, short-term rentals. In Mexico, Tulum. So I did all those countries. Canada, we're mostly doing Ontario and Edmonton. In the US, we're doing Texas, Florida, and Ohio. I was going to say Ontario. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So yeah, you can do this anywhere, guys. That's what I'm saying. Live where you want to live and invest where returns are best. So, yeah, I guess that was one of the questions. Where to go? DM me the word action. I'll call you about, 100%. Here, let me show this. DM me the word action. I'm going to ask you to fill out a form, and then I want to have a conversation. Mel and I care so much about the people that we're helping. I want to make sure that we can help you initially. Okay. And I want to make sure, if I can't help you, again, I'll show you I'll give you some information on how you can still, get started. But if I can help you, I want to have a more in-depth conversation. Now let's go back to agreement for sale. So does anyone have any questions? Is it clear as well? Can you do this in the US? Yes, you can. The US, it is called wrap mortgages. Okay. WRAP. Same difference. It's just called wrap. So same thing. Let me talk about 2 things. In Canada, because if some people might say, Dave, is that subject to or sub to? So in the US, you can do sub 2. Okay. In Canada, you cannot. Now, the biggest difference is in Canada. So let's just talk about the deal I was talking about. Agreement for sale, right? That person still owns the property. That person still has the mortgage. In Canada, as far as I know, again, I'm not a lawyer, so do not take this as legal advice. I talk to lawyers. I was just talking to one this morning about a second mortgage. But what was I saying? As far as I know, in Canada, you cannot transfer ownership or a deed of the property, right? You cannot transfer ownership or deed of a property while there is still a mortgage on it. So literally, like, the seller cannot transfer title or deed while the mortgage is still in place on the first person, right? I can assume the mortgage, but that's different. That's not the whole point of this. So in the US sub 2, seller over here can let you buy the property and now you're on title and deed, right? And then the seller still has the mortgage. In Canada, you cannot do that. So in the US, there's sub 2, there's wrap mortgages. In Canada, there's agreement for sale. So this deal that I'm talking about was agreement for sale, where they still own it, they still have the mortgage. However, I control it through a power of attorney, POA. And that's the beauty of it. So what was I going to say? If you think about the scalability here. If you have money and you're thinking, Dave, I have money, the banks are saying no, I'm getting roadblocks, which I can help you either way, so we can do creative financing and we can introduce you to different mortgage brokers and different lenders. But if you're saying, I like the idea of agreement for sale because I don't have to qualify for anything, it does not show up on my credit report, I can choose to sell it down the road and it's not even a capital gain thing because I never really owned it, or I can choose to bring it in my own portfolio. If you have some funds, or let's just make it up. Let's say you have, and I know this isn't everyone, let's say you have $100,000. You could literally buy 3 or 4 of these deals and have ownership within a week from now. You could be closing in literally like 7 to 10 days from now. Like, that is the beauty of these deals. DM us the word deals. Again, if you want access to this list that Mel and I have compelled, whatever word it is, Mel and I have put together, DM us the word deals. Calamini Homes, see you tomorrow. See you on the webinar, my friend. It's going to be live. Again, no recording. It'll be live on tomorrow, August 8th. Atia, is this a paying course? Are you charging for information? Yes, there is an investment. We have tons of free information. Like, guys, today we're going through a bunch of different stuff completely free on social media, right? There are some paid things. There's an investment to have different coaching and mentoring programs as well. Yeah, if you're interested, cool. And if you're like, no, Dave, I just want the free stuff, we've got over 1,000. I think we've got over 1,200 videos now on YouTube. Our YouTube is exploding. We started last week at 10,000 followers, and let me look live right now. We're at 37,500. So we literally gained 25,000 subscribers in a week on YouTube. Okay. Yes, this is what we want to do. Yeah, Calamini. Do you do one-on-one? Calamini, fill out the form. Okay, so do live because I want you to check out the webinar. So anyone that wants to do the webinar, DM us the word live. Mel and I are analyzing a bunch of deals tomorrow. Okay, and we're going to give you examples. We're going to show you seller financing. If a seller holds a first mortgage on a property, if a seller holds a second mortgage on a property, if a seller does 100% financing, right? Those ones are a little bit more more rare, whatever. We'll show you those 3 examples. We'll show you an example of if you're using someone's RRSPs in Canada or 401k in the US. This lake house that I bought, 100% financed, right? First mortgage from a private lender, second mortgage was RRSP mortgages. We've since paid them back out completely. And we basically did a BRRRR. We did a full renovation here. The outside's going to get renovated next summer. Yeah. So if you see some paint chips, because we're not painting this summer, if we're going to renovate it next summer, the outside. We're also going to show you how to utilize promissory notes correctly, right? Again, exiting the deal before you enter, doing it properly, and agreement for sale, like the deal we talked about now. Mr. Stillman, can you ever get the mortgage in your own name and agreement for sale? Yes, agreement for sale you can do under your personal name. You can do it under a corporation. In the US, you can do it under your own name. You can do it under an LLC. But yeah, can you ever get a mortgage in your own name? Yes. Good stuff. Calvincino. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow. Good questions. Someone was asking, because I know we have on social media, you have a mix, right? Whether you're in the US or you're in Canada or you're somewhere else, like if you are interested in investing in the US or in Canada, whether you're a Canadian citizen, whether you're a US citizen, whether you're a foreign national, Mel and I can help you. Think about this. We invest in 5 countries. We only live in one. We only have citizenship in Canada. We are foreign nationals in 4 of the other countries, right? 4 out of 5. So if you're thinking, Dave, I don't live in the US, I don't live in Canada, I live somewhere else, we can still help you. Again, you're just going to be a foreign national in the country that you decide to be, which Mel and I are foreign nationals in 4 out of the 5 countries. There are still ways of doing it. So we can help you guys with different, if you're in different countries as well. Someone had mentioned, should I buy personally or should I buy in an entity? So in Canada, we own everything in corporations, except for this lake house here and our house. Even our cars are owned in corporations, our vehicles. In the US, we own everything in LLCs, okay? Now, the pros and cons, I shouldn't say just LLCs, depending on the state as well. Some attorneys like trusts. Like, for example, Florida, they like trusts more due to, anyway, I'm not an attorney, so I won't dive into it. Where was I going with this? Oh, so in regards to should I own it personally or should I own it in an entity? Like for the agreement for sale deal that we just chatted about, it's in one of our Canadian corporations. Okay, I don't want to own anything. For tax reasons, we own this personally and we own our house personally, but I don't want to own things personally. I want everything in entities. Okay, for liability, for accounting, for succession planning. I actually just had this conversation with one of my friends this morning. Our boys play on the same summer teams, and we're having the conversation of should it be a corporation or not. So again, not a lawyer, not an attorney, not an accountant, not a CPA. I am only talking from my personal experience. Okay. As humans, we're all unfortunately going to pass away at some point, right? Your reality, if someone didn't know that, I'm maybe giving you a reality check. I'm pretty sure everyone's self-aware of that. We're going to pass away at some point, unfortunately, as humans, right? Corporations or LLCs or entities, they don't pass away. So what I like about this is a couple of different things. I like it because technically our kids already own tens of millions of dollars of real estate, right? So if I pass away tomorrow, the kids already own the real estate technically through the entities. They don't have to go through probate. Again, I'm not giving you legal advice. There might be some stuff there. Capital gains won't be an issue because there's been no transfer of ownership. So there's a lot of pros, right, to having it in entities. Now, I know in the beginning, a lot of accountants would tell me and lawyers would say, no, don't do it. And Mel and I had 18 properties at one point in our own name. And it was an absolute disaster to transition them. We actually have a YouTube video on that. I think it cost us over $400,000. And it was absolutely bonkers. So anyway, do you want to learn from my mistakes again? Not telling you what to do. Just if my son came to me, if Colton's 9, right? Oh, the boat. I don't know if you guys see that boat back there. What was I saying? Is that like a barge? It is a barge. I was going to say, I've never seen. Wonder what they're moving. Someone's moving something. Sorry, my squirrel brain. There's a barge behind me. But what was I saying? If my son came to me, Colton, he's 9. Actually, go check out our story. I did a story about it. He was in the car this morning. Remember I told you I was talking to the lawyers and the accountants about second mortgages? He was in the car with me. I picked him up from hockey to bring him to golf. And he was in the car with me. And then when I hung up, he's like, first off, he said, what's a mortgage? So I explained to him, security and debt on a property, very high level. And he said, you can have 2 of those. And I explained to him first mortgage, second mortgage. And I'm like, boom, you're learning about real estate through osmosis, right? You're with real estate investors all day long who talk about real estate with the professionals. So it's pretty cool. Our little junior CEO, if everyone wants to follow suit, he's already learning about first and second mortgages. Okay, Mr. Stoneman. But yes, sorry, let me finish that question. So I kind of sidetracked there. The barge and the story about Colton sidetracked me. What was I saying? If my son came to me and said, Dave or Dad, I want to start growing a real estate portfolio like you and Mom. should I create a corporation in Canada? Should I create an LLC in the US? I'm not saying do this. Do not take this as advice. I'm just saying if my son came to me and said, I'm starting a portfolio like you guys, would I create an LLC in the US? Would I create a corporation in Canada? I would probably 95, probably not, 99. I would say yes, buddy, start out with that. From what I know. Now, again, I would still have the conversation with the lawyers and the accountants, and I would make them talk because they all each want different things. But I would 99% say, yeah, if you start out, I would want you starting out in entities. But that's just my experience. Again, not a lawyer, not an accountant. I'm a real estate investor. Okay, do you open a new business for each property, or do you put them all under one business? This will depend. In Canada, we have multiple asset corporations, and within those multiple asset corporations, we have multiple properties. It's a little different in Canada. In the US, we usually typically have only one property per LLC. Now that will depends on the what do you call it? Depends on the value of the asset, right? Because, like, for example, in Ohio, that $72,000 triplex that we bought, right? That one I have in the same LLC as the single family home that we bought with turnkey deals, right, in January. So it just depends on the dollar amount. I'm usually a pretty hard in LLCs, like one per asset. Yeah, Florida, same thing. Yeah, but Canada, I have multiple and multiple corporations. Okay, so again, good question, Mr. Stoneman. So guys, honestly, on the live tomorrow, we're going to be going so much deeper on some deals, and we're going to have some Q&A. The thing I love is, okay, I love all the questions that we're getting today. It's awesome. It shows me that people want to know about this, whether it's buying in Canada and the US or Costa Rica or Mexico, Dominican. We can help you, right? We've been there. We can literally introduce you to the same pros that we use there, so you can make sure that you're getting investor-focused people who understand how to do this, who understand creative financing under other people's money, right? The worst thing is when, like, sometimes I'll talk to lawyers and I'll say, yeah, no, I did a second mortgage. I used someone's RSPs. And they're like, that's illegal. Well, no, it's not, right? Or if I'm saying, hey, agreement for sale, deal, I did it with a power of attorney on the property, and some people are going, well, that doesn't happen here. Maybe that happens in Alberta, but you can't do that in British Columbia. You can't do that in Ontario. Yes, you can. Just because you don't know how to doesn't mean you can't do it. Or people will say, Dave, that only works in the US, or that doesn't work in the US. Yes, it does. Okay, so that's the importance of having contacts that do what you want to do. The other thing too, and that's why Mel and I love being coaches and mentors, is if you're looking to do something, right, why not literally find people who are doing what you want to do and learn from them? Like, why reinvent the wheel? Why go through all those mistakes? Why try and, trailblaze yourself? Why not literally save time, money, effort, and just follow someone who's done it before you? And that's literally what Mel and I show people, okay? So DM us the word live. We'll get you lined up with the webinar tomorrow. Mel and I still have 4 coaches because, again, you don't know what you don't know. And even though we've purchased now over 264 units in 5 countries, I will never pretend to know it all, right? And that's why we still have 4 coaches. So anyway, look for someone who's doing what you do. The majority of what we do is buying multifamily properties. That's our main focus. We do it with other people's money, creative financing. With an exit strategy, I cannot stress that enough. Do not touch anyone's money unless you know how you're going to pay them back. And we do it without joint venture partners. Our preference is without joint venture partners. Now, again, I'm not saying don't do JVs. I'm not saying anything bad about JVs. I have a lot of friends that make a lot of money with JVs. It's just I like to own the asset myself. I like to, and when I say myself, Mel and I like to control the asset. I like to be able to decide, hey, if I want to sell, I don't have to ask anyone. Right? Mel and I have a discussion as a couple, and we decide what we want to do. If I want to refinance, I don't have to ask any partner or anyone. We just refinance the property, right? So that's why Mel and I personally like it. And when we want to live the buildings to our kids behind, or at the end of the day, there won't be competing interests and, well, hey, I want to do this, or hey, I want to do this, and now there's conflict. I want none of that. So that's why Mel and I do why we prefer without joint venture partners. But DM us the word live. If you're watching this after the fact, you're watching this as a recording, you can still DM us and we'll get you all set up. But Again, thank you so much to everyone that is here, attended the live. Appreciate it. I will see you guys on the webinar tomorrow night.